The Great Fire of London. In the year 1666, one of the most famous disasters in British history took place, the Great Fire of London. The fire started early in the morning on Sunday, September 2nd, in a small bakery owned by Thomas Fariner on Pudding Lane, near London Bridge. After all, this was hardly the first fire London had seen. But then the wind picked up and the flames spread from roof to roof, unstoppable and all-consuming. Most of the buildings in London were constructed from wood, and in the 17th century, there were no fire engines. When it was over, more than 13,000 houses were destroyed, leaving nearly 100,000 people homeless. 87 churches were destroyed, along with many important buildings, such as the old St. Paul's Cathedral. Although the number of officially recorded deaths was small, only a few people, historians believe the actual death toll may have been higher due to the intense heat and collapse of buildings. All that separated these citizens from their fiery fates were the buckets of water carried by men in long hooks. Wooden structures were largely banned, and stone and brick became the standard materials. After the disaster, London was rebuilt with stronger, safer structures, which helped the city grow and thrive in the centuries that followed. The disaster became a turning point for urban planning and fire safety in the city. To prevent another disaster of this magnitude, citizens also organized into fire wards, each responsible for watching out for fires in their areas. This system eventually evolved into London's first fire brigade. These brave firefighters worked tirelessly, but they were no match for the power of the blaze. At first, the fire seemed minor, and it wasn't until later that afternoon that the 4 watchmen sounded the alarm, alerting the citizens to the danger. Many fled to the countryside, believing the disaster would strike again. And even though the fire was several miles away, they were still concerned about their safety. King Charles II, his wife, Queen Mary, and their 5 children were staying at the Palace of Whitehall when they were alerted to the fire. They decided to stay put at first, but as the flames approached, they abandoned the palace and took shelter at the nearby Hampton Court Palace. For several days, the royal family looked on helplessly as their capital burned to the ground. By that evening, the fire had spread to adjoining buildings, and soon the whole area was a fiery inferno. Some blamed foreigners living in London, while others pointed fingers at Catholics, since the fire started in a Catholic neighborhood. Rumors also spread that the king's brother, the Duke of York, had started the fire on purpose. He was even seen fleeing the area around the fire with bags of money. However, he simply took off with his valuables because he knew the route out of London would become impassable as the roads filled with refugees. Eventually, it was discovered that a woman named Elizabeth Custis was responsible for starting the fire. She had fallen asleep after using a candle to make bread dough, and by the time she realized her house was on fire, it was too late. At first, the fire seemed like it could be put out. As the fire spread, people desperately ran for the hills or jumped into the river with whatever belongings they could carry. To make matters worse, people began to panic over who was responsible for the deadly blaze. The fire continued to rage for 4 days, finally ending on September 5th. After the fire, London was rebuilt with stricter building regulations. The Great Fire of London is remembered not only for its destruction, but also for how it reshaped and modernized one of the world's greatest cities. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more historical tales. See you next time.